One of the most important parts of being a car owner is the ability to customize your car. From small things like license plate frames to larger customizations like full wraps and decals, people will find a way to make a car uniquely their own. As the real driving simulator, Gran Turismo has always had a myriad of options available for the player to customize their cars throughout the series' history: wings, wheels, aero kits, you name it. But what's the deal with all this? Which game does customization best? And most importantly, why is it so important to have? We'll answer these questions by reviewing and analyzing the history of customization mechanics in every Gran Turismo game, going over how effective they are at making a car unique and or visually pleasing. There's a whole world of customization here waiting to be explored, so let's start off with the basics on the PS1. So here we are at the original Gran Turismo once again. As a core part of the driving experience, it's no surprise that some level of customization is included in the very first game in the series. And we'll start off with probably the most direct and obvious way you can personalize your car in real life and in Gran Turismo: color. If you buy a new car at the dealership in Gran Turismo, you get to choose which color it comes in. However, this option only exists for new cars. If you purchase a car used, this color is already predetermined. This quirk holds true for all games in the series with new and used cars, serving as one of the main distinctions between the two alongside the difference in price. And especially in the earlier games where repainting isn't an option, there is an extra bit of importance added to your purchase through this distinction. For the series in general, I think this is a good way to distinguish purchasing new and used cars beyond price alone. It feeds more into the idea that you're actually getting a used car. Instead of picking out your own color, you have to settle for the color some rando decided on 6 or 7 years ago. Plus, without oil and engine wear mechanics, it justifies the lower price that used cars come at. But in the PS1 Gran Turismos especially, the way the used car dealership works allows for some room for choice with used cars. In the dealership, there are often multiple of the same model available in a selection of colors but at different prices, meaning there is some choice available while still requiring some element of sacrifice. So anyway, once you've purchased your car in a specific color, is there anything you can do to make it look different? Sadly, not in the original Gran Turismo. You can't add anything like wings or kits, nor can you change any of the existing parts. Most notably, this includes the car's color that you picked earlier. This means that once you've got a car color, it's permanent. You're also bound to the official colors or any special prize colors, meaning no mixing and matching colors from other cars. While the lack of customization options in the original Gran Turismo stings a bit, it is somewhat understandable when you consider the hardware limitations of the time and that Polyphony may have wanted to focus more on getting the core gameplay right. But there is another option for customization that, while not fully aesthetic, radically changes the looks of a car. I'm of course referring to racing modifications that can be performed on nearly every road car in the original Gran Turismo. On top of enhancing your vehicle's performance, racing modifications add new parts and decals that help it look more like a race-ready machine. Not only that, the modifications also let you choose between 2 color variants, meaning you can have another opportunity to personalize the appearance of your car to your own liking. This is a good way to breathe new life into a car that, while still limited, works within the limitations of the older games. While it would be nice to have more options available in between stock and fully modified, what's offered by racing modifications provides enough room for personalization, which ultimately serves to benefit the in-game experience as a whole. So in the first ever Gran Turismo game, we have some primitive options for customization that still provide something of substance to hold on to. It's the bare minimum to give players a sense of choice, but it's not harmful at all. And with every new Gran Turismo, we'll see improvements in one way or another. So let's just see what a sequel adds on to this. They made a sequel for Gran Turismo on the PS1. It's called, you're not gonna believe this, Gran Turismo 2, and it's on the PS1. Shocking, I know. The existing customization options from GT1 haven't changed much in the sequel. Car paint works the same as it does there. But with the influx of new cars in GT2, racing modifications can no longer be applied to as many of the cars as before, which does sort of ruin the magic of the whole mechanic. Plus, they're now fully cosmetic and require weight reduction upgrades, the latter making it similar to how it was in the Japanese version of 1. However, we do receive a brand new customization option in this game, the wheel shop. It's pretty self-explanatory. You can buy new wheels for your car on an individual car-by-car basis. It's pretty simple, but it's rather powerful in terms of customization. For one, although most designs are pretty basic with general spoke designs in mainly white or silver colors, there is some variation with more interesting designs and colors available. Plus, the choice of wheel can complement a certain car or even affect how you see it. Take a look at this Viper with aftermarket wheels. Now look at this Viper with Beetle wheels. It's like a person's eyebrows, not too obvious but important nonetheless. There are some minor issues though. Although this option is open to most newest cars in the game, BMW cars cannot get new wheels for possible license reasons. Plus, once you've changed a car's wheels, you can't revert to its original wheels. Aside from those small caveats it has, the wheel shop is a pretty effective way to give the player an option for customization, especially given the fact that we're still on the PS1. Since it looks to be a simple texture swap, it's not too hardware intensive, and as I just mentioned, it still has a large aesthetic effect for how small a change it appears to be. Fortunately for us, this feature would be here to stay in every mainline Gran Turismo to this day. Since Gran Turismo 2's additions to the game's customization features are fairly minor, we'll combine this segment with Gran Turismo 3's, whose customization options are also fairly unchanged. Notably, racing modifications have been removed, meaning that cars you buy will look mostly stock throughout their lifespan in terms of cosmetics. However, the wheel shop does return, this time tucked in the brand new GT Auto facility. The process of acquiring wheel designs has also changed. Instead of buying a design for each specific car, you now buy the wheel design outright to then use on as many cars as desired. Although this is less realistic, it is a nice quality of life feature, especially if you're a fan of a certain design or two. Plus, you can now revert back to the car's original wheel design, which helps if you decide you like the original more. In these two games, we see some minor changes to customization that have a noticeable effect on the larger gameplay, mainly through the wheel shop. Through this, it's shown how any form of customization can help out with immersion and making cars unique. Just by adding the ability to change wheels, there's a way to differentiate a car from stock without going fully into racing mod territory. This is far more attainable for the average real-life driver who probably can't afford to get IRL racing modifications. So Gran Turismo 2 and 3's major customization option is the wheel shop. It's good, but we can do better with the next game. Now, Gran Turismo 4 brings a new customization feature that we'll get to soon, but it also made some small customization adjustments seen throughout the game. They changed the way the wheel shop works again. I would say third time's the charm, but this is the only game where the wheel shop works like this, so basically, we're back to buying individual wheels for each car. It's somewhat similar to Gran Turismo 2 in terms of the inability to easily change back to the original wheels. However, GT4 adds an interesting new system for changing wheels that's exclusive to that game. Previously, wheel designs applied universally to cars regardless of what type of tire the wheel rocked, but in Gran Turismo 4, there are 4 different wheel slots for standard and sports tires, racing tires, dirt tires, and snow tires. So if you buy a wheel design for dirt tires for instance, the design only applies to when the car uses dirt tires. If you want to have the same design regardless of tire choice, you have to buy for each type of tire, or you can mix and match by having different designs for different tires. It sounds like a nice option on paper, but in practice, it just overcomplicates things. While it would be nice to be able to pick and choose different designs for different tires, it's not like having racing tires or dirt tires has a great enough aesthetic difference to justify changing the design to complement it. That leaves the other option, which is to have one design across all tires, and that's just how it worked in the earlier games. In my opinion, having this feature is pretty redundant given what we've just talked about. Is it really worth the time, energy, and credits to have to buy the same wheel design 4 times, or to have strawberry wheels on one set of tires and Subaru 360 wheels on another set? That does remind me though, GT4 introduced another game exclusive wheel mechanic that I like a lot more than tire designated wheel designs. Tucked under the mainstay brands like BBS and Rays in the wheel shop is the Today's Special category. Think of it as a sort of used car dealer for wheel designs, because Today's Special offers wheels from other cars and even some Polyphony created specials. Just like the UCD, wheels rotate with every in-game day on a cycle. Just having the ability to put designs from other cars or original designs opens a lot of doors for cool and or funny aesthetic choices, and I love it for that. Though due to how buying wheels works compared to cars, I'd like if they introduced a way to keep buying wheels from a certain car if they're out of cycle. Maybe have it be available if you own the car you want the design from, or do it like Tomodachi Life Living the Dream, where buying the design once in cycle gives you the ability to buy it out of cycle in another menu. As we've just seen, my opinion on the wheel stuff in 4 is pretty split, with one edition being pretty nice and the other being ultimately redundant. But to make this game notable, we have one more non-wheel edition that's actually really important. We're back in GT Auto, where we have a brand new option, the wing shop. Just like the wheel shop, this option allows you to buy something to change up the look of your car. In this case, you can buy one of several wings in black, gray, or white. And unlike wheels apparently, you can switch back to the original wing. Also dissimilar to new wheel designs, rear wings serve both cosmetic and practical purposes. You can buy the GT wing for 30 front and rear downforce. This amount can be customized to influence the handling and performance characteristics of your car. This addition is so nice, it makes makes me want to drink tea with the logo in kanji. Obviously, the ability to adjust handling through downforce is very important for tuners and extracting as much performance from your car as possible. But returning back to the customization aspects of the thing, it's finally a new feature affecting a car's aesthetics that's way more drastic than just changing the wheel design. The various options for wings and colors is also beneficial. Although some more choice in color would be nice to complement more car colors, the options offered, mostly the black and white, can effectively accentuate most colors and designs. That means GT4 ultimately brought customization forward with a powerful new option alongside some isolated changes to wheels. Here, we can see some experimentation with customization, with Polyphony seeing what works and what doesn't, and it's somewhat effective as a strategy. The best option here in the wing shop is the one to carry over to the other games. It also shows slow but steady progress. Polyphony is still limited by a number of factors like the hardware of the PS2 and the over 700 cars in the game. Wings are one of the easier things to add with these limitations, so their inclusion is pretty understandable. It's quite the foreshadowing for the much larger revamp of customization in the games to come. Let's dive into those, starting with... Oh hey, I recognize that game. Gran Turismo 5 is here with shiny new premium cars. Look at those interiors, those crevices, headlights. What random bullshit can we do with this? To answer that question, let's buy a premium car and a standard car and see what we can do with them in GT Auto. On top of the 4 maintenance options here, we have quite a few customization options that our car can benefit from. Let's go over all of them in order. First on the menu, and probably the biggest change in 5's customization repertoire, is the ability to repaint both standard and premium cars. How it works is with paint chips. Whenever you buy or win a car, you receive 1 paint chip for the color you got it in. This paint chip can then be used to paint another car that same color in GT Auto. You also get special chips for every 30 cars you obtain, and back in the PSN days, you'd get chips regularly for signing in. However, they are consumable. Once used, they must be acquired again. While the ability to repaint your car is extremely helpful and much appreciated, I think the paint chip system is a tad bit too complicated and inconvenient. If you like a color and want to use it across multiple cars, for example, you have to keep buying a certain car in that color, which can cost a pretty penny. I've had an idea for an improvement, which is to have temporary paint chips purchasable in a shop and permanent paint chips for getting the associated car, but that's beyond the scope of this video. On the topic of wheels, we have some more changes from the previous games. The GT4 changes are gone and we're left with a system more similar to that of GT2's. However, some changes are present. First, this is a small nitpick, but I don't like how the wheels are presented in one continuous scroll rather than in a neat menu sorted by manufacturer. Not only is it less organized obviously, but it removes a bit of immersion that's gained from separating the manufacturers like products on a store shelf. However, this is cancelled out by the fact that you can finally revert back to the original wheels after changing them, and on top of that, you can repaint the wheels you buy. These options are available for both standard and premium cars. Although the description for wheel changes says you can't do it for standard cars, this was thankfully changed in an update. After that comes another pretty big new addition in GT5, Aero kits. So remember how GT4 gave you the GT wing for 30 front and rear downforce? In GT5, the GT wing is now part of the Aero kit menu, which allows you to put stuff like custom bumpers and extensions on your car for a boost in aerodynamic performance and a radical new look. There are some caveats, however. Our premium Sylvia, for instance, only allows Aero kits on the front bumper and wing, and the standard Integra only allows wings. While I can understand the lack of Aero parts for the standard car, it kinda sucks that even some premium cars are left behind in terms of options. Other than that, I really like the Aero kits for how they both affect the character of the car and give it a slight PP boost to make the changes feel more impactful. We'll get to the last GT Auto option soon, but let's first take a look at something in the tuning shop that works similarly to Aero kits with its effect on both performance and aesthetics. In the body/chassis section of the shop, you can buy an unpainted carbon hood or a carbon hood painted in the car's body color. It reduces the weight of the car and slightly affects its aesthetics, especially so if you choose the non-painted option for peak tuner points. I didn't notice the small aesthetic changes with the hood pins at first. I just thought the body color hood kept the appearance of the car exactly the same while reducing its weight so that the option could be used for both standard cars and premium cars. Would be nice, but no, standard cars can't use either hood. Once again, it's understandable, but this really nice feature is weighed down a bit by the nature of of the PS3 titles and its own small aesthetic changes. Finally, let's return to GT Auto to discuss the final customization on a technicality. It's a feature from the PS1 that finally returns in GT5 racing modifications. With almost all the customization options favoring premium cars over standard cars, I'd expect maybe this would at least apply to most of the premium road cars. 17 cars. You gotta be kidding me. Let's be fair though, these new premium cars are massively detailed and there's like 243 of them. I guess it's nice that we have them rather than not, but 17 cars, man, just sell them separately at that point like in GT5 Prologue. Plus, I'd say the racing mods in 5 are a downgrade aesthetically in comparison to the PS1 mods. In the PS1 games, many of the racing mods gave you a full race-ready livery with patterns and sponsors and everything. However, 5's RM liveries are far more boring, with some cars like the Civic having essentially nothing in terms of livery design, but they at least give you the ability to repaint the body and wheels using chips, and they also add a race number that can be customized in the garage. Still though, these preset modifications have overstayed their welcome and no longer work with the detail in the PS3 era and beyond in my opinion. We have Aero kits and endless tuning parts to tune up our machines, so why not just focus more on those? Hell, why not give us a Forza style livery editor like what was hinted for GTHD so we can make our own racing modifications a la GT1 and 2. Anyway, with all these changes in mind, did Gran Turismo 5 bring customization forward in the series? I'll argue that while 5's additions and changes work well in theory, the limitations of its time complicate things and ultimately sour the goodwill of these changes. Would I like all this more without the standard premium divide? Obviously, yeah. A lot of the issues stem from that divide, and it's what holds this title's progress back quite a bit. The PS3 era of Gran Turismo was interesting to say the least, and it shows in the progress and experimentation that sometimes work and sometimes doesn't for customization. And hey, we're stuck on the PS3 for another entry. Maybe Gran Turismo 6 can show us how to do it right. Gran Turismo 6 doesn't bring much in terms of major changes like how Gran Turismo 5 did. Instead, we have a myriad of smaller changes and additions to customization. Let's hop into GT Auto and take a quick look at all of them. Paint chips have been removed from 6. Now, whenever you buy or win a car, you just unlock the color permanently to be used in GT Auto. It's certainly an improvement from the paint chip system and still encourages car collecting. Plus, you can now paint the calipers and wings of the car, which is also really useful. Painting the calipers can add accents to a car, and painting the wings can help them complement a body color instead of just being plain black. Speaking of paint, we can now get painted carbon hoods on standard cars. Nice. Although this means they now get the minor weight reduction from the hoods, it means that they no longer receive the hood pins that premium cars do. In essence, they're just the regular hoods like how I posited earlier. So those are the changes. What brand new stuff has Polyphony brought? If we head over to the wheel shop, we can see a new inch up option on certain cars. It changes the rim diameter of the wheels by 1 or 2 inches, making the attached tire smaller. It is a really small thing, but I like it. It can really help in highlighting a wheel design. If we hop over to the Aero parts menu, we can see some new features for Aero kits and wings. Aero kits are still here, but now they're joined by flat floors and quote-unquote other parts. This can be a lot of things. On this Lotus Elise, for example, it switches between a soft top and a hard top. However, rear wings see the most additions. On top of generic GT wings for all cars and new special wings depending on the car, there's a new custom rear wing option. You can choose supports, wing shapes, end plates, and even the size and dimensions for your wing. Just this added level of customizability with the wings helps so much and allows for even more personalization and accommodation to a car's shape than generic presets. As the final option from GT Auto specifically, we can now add gauges to the interiors of premium cars. You can add up to 3 gauges for different car parameters: RPM, speed, oil pressure, boost, and a whole bunch more. Not only that, you can also adjust the ranges for the values and even change the gauge colors. I was a bit confused about how to effectively use this feature at first, but it helps a ton for certain situations like adding turbos to cars or tuning to a point where the original gauges are ineffective. Although it is once again premium exclusive, gauges are yet another helpful tool that unfortunately never returned outside of 6. Come on. But to cap things off, we'll head into the garage and into this new option, driver number. Here, any car can receive a number decal with your own number on it. This decal can be edited for shape and font. I never really used this feature much personally, but it's nice for DIY touring or rally cars, and the plate customization is helpful for different eras and vibes of cars. So with all these more minor adjustments in mind, I'd say that Gran Turismo 6's customization changes benefited things as a whole. We're still a bit limited by the standard premium divide, but some of the changes work around this issue. Even without without any major changes, GT6 helped make things a lot more fun with what we have, but it's time to say goodbye to the PS3 and hop into the PS4 era of the series, where things get pretty shaken up. And here we are at the oddball of the series, Gran Turismo Sport. Since this entry was designed more towards sport mode and the general online experience compared to the traditional GT, many of the non-racing gameplay elements were stripped down, with one notable example being customization. You can no longer add aero kits to cars, carbon hoods were gone, you couldn't even put rear wings on cars anymore, no more 30 downforce from the GT wing. I guess these could have been removed to simplify the non-racing gameplay experience and bring focus towards sport mode, but would it really have hurt to include them in the game? The only option that was carried over to sport is the wheel shop. It was consolidated into the mileage exchange, where certain wheels would be sold on rotation and purchased with mileage points. I don't like how this means certain wheels can't be purchased most of the time, but to make up for it, Polyphony changed the way wheels work in the first place. Instead of needing to buy a wheel for each individual car, instead you buy the wheel once and are able to use it across multiple cars like in GT3. I feel this is a more convenient way to go about doing this, especially if you have a certain design that you like. You no longer have to find and buy a wheel for every single car. But for everything Polyphony took away in sport, they gave back with something that far and away makes up for the previously mentioned exclusions. It seems like such an obvious inclusion for a racing game, but after 20 years of Gran Turismo without it, it's an absolute godsend. In 2017, Gran Turismo Sport finally gave us a livery editor, finally something on the level of Forza 2 from a decade earlier. Alright, enough pettiness. Let's just see how Gran Turismo does with its own livery editor. It's available for most cars in the game, as well as for suits and helmets in a rare case of non-car customization. In the actual editor, we're offered 4 main options: paint, decal, wheel, and racing item. Paint is pretty self-explanatory. You can use a color picker or even special paints from the mileage exchange to paint the entire car or certain areas of it like the hood, wheels, or side mirrors. Being able to choose which specific areas get paint is a really nice option and an improvement from the painting mechanics in the other games. The wheel menu is where you can change the wheels with designs purchased from the mileage exchange, and the racing item menu allows you to add driver names, numbers, and banners, all pretty simple. But the real meat of the livery editor comes with the decal menu. Here, you can add decals to the car's body, similar to decal editors in other games like Forza, and even non-racing games like Call of Duty, you can add layers of individual decals. Polyphony gave us a whole slew of decals to use, such as basic shapes and patterns, text, real sponsors, fictional sponsors, someone should rank those, and the like. Already, this opens a whole world of opportunities for people who want to make their own liveries. I've made plenty of cool stuff with just the preset decals. You can even go the Black Ops route and create some really intricate designs using just the basic shapes. But you don't even have to do that, as Polyphony gave us another option for decals: custom user uploaded images. You could head over to the GT website and upload your own SVGs to be put in game and even shared for others to use. While I haven't uploaded much personally, I've definitely utilized the shared decals countless times in Sport and 7. They assist greatly in recreating real-world liveries or just taking your original designs to the next level. This is genuinely such an amazing feature for Gran Turismo to have. My only major problem with it is just that it wasn't introduced sooner, and also the massive elephant in the room. So, all those customization options I mentioned were under the assumption that you were playing online and connected to GT Sports servers due to how liveries are stored there. Said server shut down in 2024. This means that in the present day, none of these options are available at all. Not only can you not make stuff in the livery editor, but you can't even use any existing liveries made before the shutdown. That fact just sours the whole deal altogether and gives me some very not good vibes for when Gran Turismo 7's time comes, like the games before. TLDR, while we do see a revolutionary new customization feature in Sport in the livery editor, the lack of anything outside of that and the eventual obsolescence of the livery feature as a whole means that this game's customization offering leaves a lot to be desired. This regression reflects Sport as a larger title, a shift from traditional Gran Turismo gameplay simulating car ownership to focus on the online aspects. But this won't always be the case, as the final game in this list brings back many of the customization features from the previous games and adds some more for good measure. And so, we're back in the modern day with Gran Turismo 7. You can certainly say a lot against this game, but if there's one thing that it does right, it's car customization, because I'd argue that Gran Turismo 7's customization offering is among the best in the series, a bit obvious since it has over 25 years of past GTs under its belt, but the point still stands. To prove it, let's hop in an RX-7 and head over to GT Auto, but not to the aptly named car customization menu. No, instead we're heading into the car maintenance and service menu, where we can add a wide body to our car. This option will have the GT Auto guys literally stretch out your fenders into a wide body. That's fucking peak and I love it, not just down to the goofiness, but the fact that we can even do this customization option and affect our car this way. Now we can head into the car customization menu. There, we're greeted by 6 very lucrative and fleshed out options. We'll go in order again, starting off with the updated wheel shop. Oh my god, it's beautiful. Wheels sorted by manufacturer. The return of the buy once used many model from GT3 and Sport. The ability to change the rim diameter, width, and offset. This new wheel shop covers so many bases and has so many wheels. I think I'm justified in saying that this is the best it's been. Heading over to the paint colors section, we can now buy paint colors with regular credits. There are a variety of generic paints in multiple textures. Most notably, there's an option for a carbon paint. Although it has the caveat of forcing you to paint it on all the body instead of certain areas, you could use this to bring back carbon hoods with some trickery. But there's another highlight in this menu, the real car paint section. This has hundreds if not thousands of paint colors from actual cars in the game. With the helpful ability to sort by color, texture, and manufacturer, you're bound to find something you can use here. Aero kits make their return in the custom parts menu, which is almost functionally identical to 6 and 5s, except with all cars being on the same detail level, far more road cars and even some non-road cars can enjoy new parts. Custom GT wings return too, albeit a bit simplified as you can no longer choose supports and adjust specific dimensions, but what we have is still really great. There are racing items like hood pins, tow hooks, and roll cages available if you want to pseudo RM your car. Various other parts can be customized too, such as the light bulb warmth, license plates, front grille parts, and caliper colors. Unfortunately, no caliper painting like on the level of the livery editor. It's just a selection of preset colors for the upgraded Brembo brakes. Speaking of the livery editor is back and mostly unchanged from Sport. You can still make your own liveries, race them in game, and even share them online for other people to enjoy and or ridicule. Except if your livery contains DeWalt decals apparently. But with all the added features we just talked about, the editor can finally reach its true potential. Now you could truly make your own PS1 style racing modifications like I mentioned earlier. So yeah, the sheer quantity of features, their depth, and all the improvements they make from the previous games help make Gran Turismo 7's overall offering for car customization one of the series' best, and it all highlights why customization in-game matters in the first place, because it helps forge a bond between you and the virtual car. Anyone can have a certain model of car, but the model you own is uniquely yours, and we separate our own hunk of steel from the thousands of others on the road through various customizations, big and small, as if the car is an extension of ourselves. It's the same in Gran Turismo. When you first get a car, it's the same as the thousands of other cars sold at the dealership and seen by thousands of other players. Customization in-game is the key to fitting the car to your own unique views and desires, whether it be through a new wheel design or full livery. Ultimately, you'll come around to something that fits your view and pleases you, and that's what's beautiful about customization. The process of taking a literal assembly line vehicle and making it your own is a core part of being a real driver, and the Real Driving Simulator is no stranger to it, turning a bunch of pixels on a screen to your own bunch of pixels on a screen. So, in conclusion, I'm justified in putting beetle wheels on my Viper. She's perfect to me like this, and that's all that matters.